Okay, let's start. We are going to start with a simple notepad. You can use whatever Word document or text processing document you want. I just need a Word, rather a notepad. We're just going to start creating some use cases. So, in our case, we're going to talk about a client patronizing a restaurant. So, what does a client do when they patronize a restaurant? Patron walks in, right? Simple enough. What happens when the patron walks in? There's usually a host, or they could have a sign that says seat yourself. But let's just assume that there's a host. Host seats patron, right? Now I'm trying to keep this very simple. Use the KISS methodology in order to do this. So the host seats patron. What happens next? Patron looks at menu. These are normally pretty intuitive, pretty straightforward ways to look at a use case. And this is exactly what we're trying to do. Once the patron looks at the menu, patron is going to choose a drink, right? Then a server will deliver drink. But before the server delivers that drink, what does the server need to do? The server will order through their POS system, right? Um, Point of sale system. All restaurants have one, electronic one. Uh, then the server will deliver the drink. And then when the server delivers the drinks, they normally ask, okay, guys, what do you want to eat? So patron orders food. And then again, server will order food through POS, and server will deliver food. These are the basic steps for how a patron will be patronized in a restaurant. So let's see if we could translate these into a flow chart, right? So let's do a flow chart next. Let's keep these kind of on the side here. All right, so we've created our use cases. It was a very simple exercise. Now we're going to create a flow chart. So how does this work? Pencil allows us to have various different types of shapes. So this is common shapes. We're going to look at common shapes because we really don't want to get too in the weeds here. So let's just start creating a flow chart. Let's look at our use cases. Our use cases state number one, patron walks in. There's probably not a good way to reflect that in our first screen for our app. So what we want to do is look at the next case, host seats patron. That's probably something we could reflect in the app. So let's go ahead and create some plain text, and let's just sorry, plain text. And let's say that this is going to be host uh, screen. All right, let's look at that host screen. We'll call that host screen. Again, this is all editable. This is fun if you want to sit there and resize and edit and play with these things. I would recommend you do so. So it kind of has more of your personality in this application. Most UXs have the designer's personality. Anyway, host screen. So now we need another button, right? So we're probably going to do a button that allows us to find the tables. So this button, we'll name it tables, right? Keep it simple. Again, I want to use the KISS method with all of this. So we'll name this button tables. You could go ahead and center that tables within the button. And let's see what happens when we press that table button. We're probably going to get another screen with a list of tables, or maybe a chart or a diagram of tables. You can really get creative with this. but we're probably going to get another screen. So let's go ahead and insert another screen and make it the same size. What's nice is that it automatically helps you size the screens accordingly. So we can either go ahead and just list the screens, which is probably going to do for the purpose of this tutorial is table tables, and then go ahead and let's just make um, a generic list of tables A3, and then maybe there's another section called B, B1, B2. Make sure and take your vitamins. Um, and we'll just make an ellipsis here. So this screen is activated when we hit this tables button. So we want to reflect that in our diagram. So let's go ahead and do a free line. Let's go ahead and bring it from tables to this screen. Now we also want to go ahead and oh, I want to be able to actually do the free line. So let's go ahead and do the end arrow. Well, let's keep that end arrow, but let's just do away with that start arrow. So we just want to say that the tables reflects this tables screen, right? And once we enter the table or we choose the table, we need another button, right? So let's go ahead and create another button. And again, the beauty of this is that we can kind of resize this and center it. And we want to create a button that says, oh, let's just say enter. So we have now a quick diagram, whereas we have a host screen, which is not really centered, is it? Okay. And a host tables button, rather. And the tables button is going to lead us into this other screen that has a list of tables. So again, the KISS methodology is probably the best methodology you can use when designing these things. You can get really elaborate, but remember two things. When you get very elaborate, it's going to be tougher for your designers and your engineers to complete the task, or even yourself if you're doing the engineering or the coding yourself. But for now, let's just leave it at that. Obviously, if we hit enter, we could have another arrow to another screen and so forth and so on. So if you keep it simple, it will get complicated by itself. But again, if you keep it simple, you can really start understanding the flow as to it pertains to the flowing in your app.